Hei tid. Ein av manneskene, Andy, som ja, vi og ned, han hever lykkes med ADHD, og jeg har gjort alt samråd ved han og sett henne spurningar, og jeg tror at døylet med tikkun, så gjør så vel.
My name's Robert Andrew Strachan. I'm 42 years old, and I was born in Holland, but I've lived in Scotland most of my life, in Aberdeen.
All right. When were you diagnosed with ADHD?
I was diagnosed at 40, so two and a half years ago, maybe. And I had to go privately because we wouldn't have got assessed for probably 6 months to 2 years.
So there's a long waiting list.
There's a long waiting list in the UK unless you go privately.
It's the same thing with in the Faroe Islands, which at one point the waiting list was about 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very long time. Yeah.
It is.
So are you on any medication?
Yeah. Well, I've got sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea, so I have to be on CPAP with positive air pressure.
Yeah.
Which I can't do obviously on this trip, so I'm taking melatonin to get to sleep. I have a lot of sleep issues that have come with my ADHD. Then I'm on Zagatin XL, which is methylphenidate. That just helps me focus on what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, good, so very good. Yeah. And could you tell us a little bit about how your life is now that you're on medication?
It's much more organised. I'm able to focus on university, work. I still have moments if I haven't got things that I'm planning to do, that I'll get distracted and do something completely different. And if I've got something I need, I will often put it down and lose it still. But it's not as bad as it used to be.
It's just like with the book.
Yes. Just like
I couldn't find my book.
But I mean, I'm also more conscious now. I know I have it, because obviously people with ADHD can be quite emotional. So I'm now able to consciously think, well, am I reacting to this how I should be? Should I maybe calm down a bit? A lot of things I've done are not just medication, but I've gone to do a psychology degree. I've done a lot of research myself into it, and I've had a bit of therapy to sort of get some explanations and some coping mechanisms. So that's helped.
All right. So and could you tell us a little bit? Don't have to go really far into it, but how was your life before medication? And
I think what came up was COVID.
Yeah.
So we were all stuck inside. I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I was just getting worse and worse. Like, I was getting depressed, but almost, swings and roundabouts. So 1 minute you'd be really excited, the next minute you'd have no energy, and all these kinds of things. And then she was an assessor for the Aberdeen University mental health, like special needs.
Yeah.
And she said, you need to go get assessed. So I've done that, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, I'm much more productive. I know what's going on, and I don't beat myself up if I'm tired. When you get exhausted, I don't I kind of realise I need to rest. So it's much better than it used to be.
Nice, yeah. And now you're on this row.
Yes.
Through the Northwest Passage. Why are you doing this trip?
Because when I did the Atlantic one, I had to get rescued, and it was a pretty bad experience for me. Came back, my mum had a stroke. There were lots of different things going on, and I think before I was diagnosed, I was looking for something. There was something I just wasn't comfortable in life. So whether, having been diagnosed now, whether I would have done this without my diagnosis, if that makes sense. I don't know if I would have, but at the time it was kind of what I'd been looking for. And leaving, put a post up, I spoke to him, asked him what was going on, had a good interview with him, and he basically said, if you want to join, you can join. And I thought at that time that was probably the best thing for me, was to have something to go towards.
Yeah.
But it has been postponed since then.
Yeah.
But once I do commit to something, that's me doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And now that we are 2 weeks into the trip or something like that, how has the trip been so far for you?
It's been good. It's been challenging in bits. Again, with my sleep deprivation side of things, I think I'm actually quite okay to cope with it, because that's kind of almost my normal state. The cold's been a bit of a bugger. I'm not going to lie to you there.
Yeah, and the wet, and the rain.
The cold and the wet and the rain. But I'm finding it hard just here, now waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, I think everyone just wants to get going, but if you don't have the correct... A lot of people sort of say, oh, well, you're not moving on, you're not do this. And you're like, well, no, we can't, because if we don't plan ahead, it's almost like playing a game, like a strategy game or something. If you don't plan ahead, you're going to get stuck like we were before. So we're heading off tomorrow, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And so far, what has been the biggest challenge on the trip?
I think it's...
The waiting?
Yeah, I think the waiting and not knowing how long it'll take.
Yeah, that's for me too.
I think I think at the start, I think I and a lot of everyone sort of had this idea of this is how it's going to be, and there was very little understanding. I mean, I've done an ocean road before, so I do understand there are delays, but not... The weather wasn't, once you were out, it was kind of like you just keep going. But in the severity of weather we're in at the moment and the risk of cold and everything.
You can't really compare this to the Atlantic Ocean. It's completely different.
Kettle of fish.
Yeah. Any big plans for the future?
When I get home, I plan finish my degree. I'm going to train as a therapist for neurodivergent people. I'm an ADHD ambassador back home as well, so
that's great.
I want to do outdoor events and take like neurodivergent younger adults and kids out and explain to them what's going on, and get married and have a family and stuff like this. Have a normal life for a little bit. Yeah,
that's nice. Last question. Do you have any good advice to people that are being diagnosed with ADHD?
Well, in the UK, a lot of people are afraid of going to get a diagnosis because it takes so long. First thing I would say is just go and get assessed, because at least then you know what's going on, and having that self-knowledge, you can do stuff yourself. And try medication. And if it doesn't work for you, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'd give it a try, because it does work for me. Some people don't want to try it because they're scared it's a strong stimulant. But then it'll affect our brains differently too. It affects a normal brain. So just find. I mean, even yourself, Levi. Your family said that you're a different person.
Yeah.
And it may stunt some of your creativity. I don't know if it does that.
It just has been very good for me.
Yeah.
I'm just more productive. I can stand there for hours and hours, be really focused. Yeah. So it's been a blessing for me so far. Yeah.
I can manage about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
At the most to focus on one thing, and I split my day up. You can do that as a Pomodoro thing. You can do that as well. But if I take my Zagatin, I can focus for much longer on what I'm doing. And it's not necessarily something I'm hyper focused on, hyper focused where you just go into that zone and you're just like nothing else is happening. I can focus on uni work and stuff that I don't particularly want to do but I need to get done. So it really helps with daily life. It really does.
Yeah, I think it's a good advice also to, if people have it, try medication. It's if it's not working, you can you can always go off.
Well, that's it. But it's also there are different kinds. So if one doesn't work, try another one. Yeah. Because it might change your life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It really has changed mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel much more positive about things. Yeah, I mean, my past relationships, I mean, I'm not putting them aside, but I was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And now, I've spoken to you about this while
Yeah,
I've been here,
yeah,
but
yeah.
now, like, things are moving on. I'm more capable in day-to-day life. And,
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
That's
Andy.
right.
Super.
Thank you very much, Levar.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, definitely try everything and get as much advice and learn as much as you can about it yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's all right.